Hollywood has always had complicated relationships, but one pattern that keeps resurfacing decade after decade is powerful. Famous men marrying women much younger than themselves. Sometimes the age gap barely raises eyebrows. Other times it sparks debate, headlines, and endless cultural conversations. From old Hollywood legends to modern-day superstars, these marriages tell stories about fame, timing, legacy, and how relationships change once the spotlight gets involved. Here are some of the most famous examples that shaped public perception, for better or worse. No conversation about age gap marriages can avoid Hugh Hefner. When he married Crystal Harris in 2012, Hefner was 86 and she was 26. The 60-year age difference shocked even those familiar with Playboy culture. Hefner had built an empire around youth and fantasy, and this marriage felt like the ultimate embodiment of that legacy. While controversial, it also became a defining chapter of how power, lifestyle, and image intersected at the end of his life. Jerry Seinfeld married Jessica Sklar in 1999 when he was 45 and she was 28. On paper, the gap seems modest compared to others, but public attention lingered because of Seinfeld's earlier relationship with a much younger girlfriend in the 1990s. His marriage marked a shift into a more private, grounded chapter of life. Over time, their long-lasting relationship softened earlier criticism and reframed the narrative around stability rather than controversy. Alec Baldwin's marriage to Hilaria Baldwin came with a noticeable generational gap. He was 53 when they met, while she was 27. Over the years, their relationship has been heavily public, sometimes to their detriment. Between social media oversharing, public controversies, and Baldwin's own legal troubles, their marriage has remained in the spotlight. The age difference often resurfaces during criticism, showing how such gaps never fully fade from public memory. Harrison Ford and Callista Flockhart's relationship offers a quieter example of an age gap marriage. Ford was 60 when they began dating, while Flockhart was 38. Despite the difference, their relationship has long been viewed as stable and deeply respectful. Their marriage shifted the conversation toward emotional compatibility rather than age, proving that public reaction often depends on how couples present themselves over time. Michael Douglas married Catherine Zeta-Jones when he was 56 and she was 31. Their shared birthday, both born on September 25th, became a symbolic talking point that helped reframe the age gap narrative. Despite facing health challenges, public struggles, and temporary separation, their marriage endured. Over time, it became one of Hollywood's more respected long-term partnerships. Woody Allen's relationship with Soon-Yi Previn remains one of the most controversial in entertainment history. Allen was 56 when their relationship began, while Soon-Yi was around 19. The circumstances surrounding how they met and the family dynamics involved overshadow any discussion of age alone. Their marriage sparked ethical debates that still echo today and fundamentally altered Allen's public legacy. Clint Eastwood married Dina Ruiz when he was 66 and she was 31. Their relationship reflected Eastwood's long history of younger partners, a pattern that followed him through decades of stardom. While their marriage eventually ended, it reinforced the perception of Eastwood as someone who carried old Hollywood relationship norms well into modern times. Frank Sinatra's marriage to Mia Farrow in 1966 was one of Hollywood's most famous age gap unions of its era. Sinatra was 51 and Farrow was just 21. Their relationship symbolized the clash between old Hollywood power and the emerging youth culture of the 1960s. Though short-lived, it remains one of the most talked-about celebrity marriages in film history. Sylvester Stallone married Jennifer Flavin when he was 51 and she was 29. Unlike many similar relationships, theirs evolved into a long-term marriage that produced a close-knit family. Over time, the age difference became less relevant as Stallone shifted from action star to family-focused public figure. Steve Martin married Anne Stringfield when he was 62 and she was 36. Known for his sharp wit and private nature, Martin's relationship felt refreshingly understated. Their marriage demonstrated how maturity and shared intellectual compatibility can redefine expectations around age differences. Rupert Murdoch's marriage to Wendy Deng came with global attention. He was 68, she was 30. Their relationship intersected with immense political and media power, making it about more than age alone. When they divorced, it became part of a larger narrative about influence, ambition, and shifting alliances. Rod Stewart's romantic history includes multiple age gap relationships, most notably his marriage to Rachel Hunter when he was 45 and she was 20. While that marriage ended, Stewart later married Penny Lancaster, again with a notable age difference. His relationships often reflected the rock star culture of his generation. Humphrey Bogart married Lauren Bacall when he was 45 and she was just 20. Despite the age gap, their relationship became one of Hollywood's most iconic love stories. Their partnership challenged assumptions, proving that deep emotional bonds could transcend public expectations. Donald Trump's marriage to Melania Trump remains one of the most widely discussed age gap relationships in modern public life. When they married in 2005, Trump was 58 while Melania was 34. Their relationship became a fixture of tabloid culture long before politics entered the picture. What made this pairing stand out was not just the age gap, but how openly transactional and media-driven their public image felt. Over the years, their marriage has survived scandals, political upheaval, and intense scrutiny, making it one of the most analyzed unions of the modern era. Robert Duvall married Luciana Pedraza when he was 74 and she was 33. Their marriage has remained relatively private, allowing the relationship to exist outside tabloid frenzy. Over time, it became another example of how public perception softens when drama stays away. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Hollywood's most talked about age gap marriages, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that explore the real dynamics behind celebrity headlines. If you are watching on Facebook, do not forget to follow the page for daily updates, long-form breakdowns, and entertainment stories you will not find anywhere else.